Welcome to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm your host, Amanda Lamb. First, there's the relief. You're okay. Your family is okay. Then there's the realization that your property is not okay. Hurricanes can wreak havoc on your home, from downed trees to holes in your roof to flooding. Knowing what to do and where to turn after a storm damages your property can be overwhelming. In today's conversation with WRAL's 5 on Your Side reporter, Keely Arthur, we're talking about when and how to begin the recovery process when your property is damaged during a hurricane. Keely, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
So I've covered a lot of hurricanes, and I've seen so many people returning to their home after a storm has passed. I mean, in this one situation, after Florence, I was in Wrightsville Beach, and I met this woman named Kitty. She was sitting on her porch crying after seeing the home that she had raised her family in, that her husband had owned for 50 years, gutted by the storm. I didn't know she had just gotten there, and later she shared that with me because we ended up, following her story for several years until she rebuilt. But her son was there. He was just carrying the wet stuff out of the house, like the carpeting and the furniture, because he didn't know where to begin. So
Right.
I know many North Carolina homes, depending on where they are required to carry flood insurance. I would imagine that checking your insurance policy or your homeowner's insurance policy is really probably the best place to start.
Yeah, know what's covered, know what you're working with, and then also look at it because times have changed, needs have changed, the amount of coverage you need may have changed as well. So looking at it from that standpoint, if it's something you need to update, and you can always call your insurance agent and have a conversation. Again, we always tell people you want to be in the know ahead of a situation like this that can be incredibly emotional.
Absolutely. And obviously, the faster you get that ball rolling, the faster your recovery can begin. And I know in some states, some situations, there's a disaster assistance program depending on how, severe the storm was. And that's something you can look at too. But you should always start with your insurance.
Yeah. So first, I should just say, with your insurance, assess the damage, file a claim. The faster you file the claim, the faster the recovery can begin. And yes, you may be eligible for your state's disaster assistance program, but you need to really file with your insurance company first and take photos to kind of take stock and really get a sense of what you're dealing with.
Yeah. What do they require? What does the insurance company require?
So they are going to require probably a number of things. You want photos, but call them and they're going to tell you, hey, this is what you want. This is what we need from you. And, create an inventory again with the photos and then a list of expenses incurred from the damage, from the cleanup, and also paying for things like living arrangements. You want to keep receipts.
Because you may not be able to stay there, right?
Exactly. And then don't take matters in your own hands. Don't make your own repairs. Like you want make sure things are built to code and all of that. So people can be really hasty because it's such an emotional thing.
They want to get it done. But I guess they will send out an adjuster to look at it, and then you can kind of go from there.
Yes. So your job, keep documents, keep receipts, take photos, call your insurance
Makes
agent.
sense. Well, we will be right back after the break with more tips. Welcome back to the WRAL Daily Download. So I know we all have important documents that, show our identity, our license, our social security card, our homeowner's insurance, all of these things. And these are things that are important in the recovery process. So what if we can't find them, or what if they're lost?
Well, my advice would be to look and see what you actually have right now. And a lot of places now just accept things digitally. So
take pictures
of them, scan them, and then save them on your computer. And then you have them. I lose stuff all the time. So I have a lot of, having the photo of my license front and back has saved me in the past. But all government agencies have a process by which you can request duplicates or important documents. we get emails from Five on Your Side all the time because people are
Sure.
they're not only how to do that, but it just takes a really long time. And so you just want to make sure that, again, before a hurricane, before you really need something like that, notice, oh, I don't have this. I'm going to request it now because it takes a while to get those duplicates.
Right. And then if you do have hard copies, take pictures. You could even put them in a safe if you have a safe.
Yeah.
Or just waterproof bags. That's another place to put them. There's a lot of practical and logistical issues when you've had storm damage and making repairs. I think the first thing that comes to mind for most of us is tree damage.
Yeah.
Because if we're going to lose something in Raleigh during a storm, it's probably going to be because of a tree.
Right.
So what are the things that people should know about dealing with tree damage?
Right. I feel like in Raleigh, if we're covering storm damage, it's always trees. Like in the city of Oaks, we have huge trees. It's beautiful, but yeah, it creates a lot of damage. So if a tree falls on, no matter people want to know like who's at fault. So if the tree falls on your car, if it falls on your house, your vehicle insurance, your homeowner's insurance is going to cover that.
Sure.
Even if it's not your tree. And the difference, though, is if your neighbor's tree falls on your house, if the tree is fine and healthy, then your insurance will cover
handle it.
But if the tree was dead and the homeowner, like the neighbor, didn't remove it, then that's completely on them. And then also something that is also not a great, it's kind of a stinky situation is if a tree falls on your lawn, you probably are not going to have insurance coverage for insurance is not going to
have to remove it.
You're going to have to
yourself.
remove it, and that can get really expensive.
And we always see after storms, everybody's out with their chainsaws and neighbors are helping neighbors, but you have to be careful because that can be dangerous. And so, a lot of people may opt to hire a tree service. And I guess, again, it's just consumer beware. Get quotes, make sure they're licensed. And, when you've got somebody coming door to door, you want to really think about that.
It. You may have a friend whose house was hit by a tree or years ago. Call them up, see who they did business with. You want references. People use Google ratings and all of that, but you want to hear from people that you trust. Talk to family members, friends.
To get recommendations.
There's a friend of a friend who knows someone who's good in that arena and can help you out.
And they may be busy, so you may have to wait, and that's understandable after a big storm. Okay, so we remove the trees. The next thing we have to do is deal with the holes in the roof. And that's why you see these blue tarps everywhere. And again, you can do it yourself, but that could be dangerous. So I would imagine that contractors and specifically roofing companies will do that stopgap measure, as a precursor to doing the work. So what should people know?
Yeah. So as you mentioned, people can do it themselves, but if you're going to hire a roofing service to do it, they need to be a licensed contractor if the repairs are ultimately going to cost more than $30,000. A lot of time, that might not be the case, but still you can work with a licensed contractor even if it's less than $30,000.
Seems like a good idea.
Absolutely. Rarely do we cover stories with Five on Your Side where contractors have done something bad when they were licensed. There's just way more oversight for people who have their license.
Sure.
And do not pay anyone. I'm working on a story right now where someone paid somebody $56,000 up front. Do not
wait till they have the work done. Yeah.
Front. Wait. Pay incrementally. It's going to take a while for that repair to happen.
And they also have to have permits to do that work, depending on how much work they're doing.
Yeah, and you can verify that with your local municipality. The permits have been filed. Any contractor or worker worth their salt is going to be totally happy to show you that.
Okay,
I'm proud of that.
Once again, let's boil this down. I know there's a million things that we've talked about that people can do, but what are some of the top things that you think people should do after they notice that they have hurricane damage?
Take a breath. First and foremost, contact your insurance company before you really do anything. You don't need to do anything except take photos, contact your insurance company, and then document the damage, of course, through papers, photos, receipts. Make sure an adjuster evaluates the property before you or anyone else starts making repairs. Tarp any holes that that are on your roof yourself, but you may need a professional. Again, like take stock of what the actual situation is. You don't want to make things worse. And then research and get quotes from licensed tree removal services, licensed contractors. Get at least 2 references from people that you trust, and read the reviews. Ask them for footage and photos, and ask them for references. Say, hey, can you tell me the last 3 people that you worked with? Can you give me their phone numbers?
That's all really good advice, and these are worst case scenarios, but we have to be prepared because we live in North Carolina for sure.
We do.
So thank you so much, Keely, for sharing this with us. And if you'd like to hear more episodes, please follow the WRAL Daily Download in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or just about any podcast app. Once you follow the show, you'll automatically get new episodes every weekday. As always, thanks for listening to the WRAL Daily Download.